What are those red flags that you really need to be paying attention to while you're dating instead of regretting it after you get married? Let's talk about it.
During the pandemic, I started down this journey on going from what I like to call healing to wholeness.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Live, Love, and Marry Wizerr, where our mission is in our name. Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. But in all thy getting, get understanding. And we certainly come here every week so that we can provide you with some wisdom on dating and life and love and marriage. And we appreciate all of you who come and support us every week. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to talk about things you need to pay attention to, red flags while you're dating, especially in the early periods of dating, so that you can save yourself some of that heartbreak. And speaking of that, in our description, and you'll find a link to my new ebook, The 5 Men You Should Never Date. And y'all, it's only $7, so you need to pick that up because you are missing out. This is a great resource, and it doesn't only tell you about those 5 men, but it tells you why, and gives you some tools on how to evaluate the other stuff. So we appreciate you picking that up. Hello, Onita. How are you?
Hey, Lo, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be back here again. It's our Tuesday night time where we get to share some wisdom and get some wisdom. So I'm happy to be here. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. What's up, Susan? So happy to have you here. Always got to shout her out. We appreciate you as always. We are just the two of us today. Even our producer's out today, so that's all right. We did 4 episodes or 3 episodes together during the hiatus. I think we can manage this and have some great conversation. So, do I have an update? I don't know. Do I have an update? For those of you who are new or listening in on Spotify or Amazon Music or iHeartRadio, maybe, or Castbox. We're on several podcast streaming sites now, and those will be uploaded on Thursday morning. But if you've been following us or you haven't, I am on an intentional dating journey. I am asking God for my partner to come into, well, I can't say quickly because I've been praying for 30 plus years, but at this point, for God, a day is like 1,000 years and 1,000 years is like a day. So he's not pressed. And so, but we've been praying. And if you watched last week's episode, which was fantastic, and I'll link that up here in the chat. On the video later, we had Terry Moore, and she was talking about living life to your highest potential. And she talked about how she met her husband, the good one, not the abusive one, the one she's been with for the last 30 years. And after the live presentation, we were talking to her more, and she challenged me to take my list out, because I do have a list. She said she prayed on the episode. She talked about praying for her list. She'd been praying for about 2 years, but then one day she prayed, and then that night she met him on the phone. And so she challenged me to pray for my future husband, pray over that list every day for 7 days. And so I started last Wednesday, and I did do that. The last day is today, and I'll do it tonight before I go to bed. And he hasn't come yet, but I still trust in the Lord.
Amen.
But what I think what I will say is that it did make him more real. As I was, reading over those, traits that I desired, both the majors, the minors, and the incidentals. So there's like character stuff, and then there's just like, good stuff to have, like he's neat and all of those things. And then, a parent, I started to actually picture him, imagine him. And I think that that's important too. And it's actually a scripture that we're going to refer to later, in Habakkuk 2, verse 2 and 3, where it says, write the vision, make
Yes.
it plain so they can run who read it. And so I think that that is really important. People say don't write a list, or other people say do write a list, but I think I believe you do need to have clarity about what you're looking for, with the understanding that God knows ultimately what's best for you. But also, I don't think God is just like, oh, your list is crap, unless your list is crap. And and then he will disregard that. But if you actually put genuine, real characteristics and traits, that are not superficial stuff as your primary thing, then I think God honors that, because I think he puts those things in us. He knows who we are and why we want those things. And so I have been praying, and I'll probably keep praying, but my 7 days ends today. So.
All right. Well, I think that's good. I'm just going to ask you one more question, though. Did you go to the pet store or the health food store?
I have not yet, but I am going to, Onita. I am going
tomorrow.
I am going, but we are planning for our retreat this weekend, and I have just been working very diligently about that. So I haven't really been out, but I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go. So when we come back, maybe by that next Tuesday after the retreat, then I would have gone by then.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that you do that, and then we have a whole nother update come next week.
All right. For those of you who didn't hear that, Terry told us that research shows that the pet store and the health food store are the best places to find a man. And I'm not a pet person, but then Onita pointed out that they have fish and they have other things that I could live with. So I'm just like, okay, Onita, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do it. So
yes.
So anyway, we are excited. We're just gonna jump into our episode right now. And so we want to talk about pay attention to these red flags in a man when you are dating. I want to maybe get an insight from you, Onita, on how do you define red flag? Because people define it differently.
I would define red flag as something that, one, your intuition just perks up. There's something a person says or does, or there's something you discern that it's like, cause you to call, it's a caution, kind of like the red stop sign that will either stop or completely, or, hey, this may be something I need to address, or even a boundary that may have been pushed may becomes a red flag. So that's what I would define red flag to be. How do you define it?
That's really good. I've always defined a red flag as something that you don't stick around when that shows up. But I do feel as if, and I define like a yellow flag as something that you discuss, and you're like, okay, maybe this is a thing that can be altered or changed or whatever. So I like that your explanation really kind of encompassed both of those things, because I didn't used to define red flags because I just assumed everyone defined it the way I did. But then I realized in conversation that, people, so I would think of stuff like abusive, or, screaming at me, or addictions, or, a cheater, or like those really huge things. Those aren't things I'm going to have a conversation about. They're just going to be like, oh, holla at you, whatever,
Let the Lord bless you.
But there are things that are on our list that are nowhere near that at that level, but if I saw them, I still would run or walk away. Like those, I would run away. These, I would just probably walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some that I think are worth having conversations before you. And I think the important thing about having that conversation, and I listen to Stefan speaks a lot on, he's a relationship coach on YouTube, and he does a lot of great content, and he talks about red flags. And I think maybe this is the first time I heard it from him, was that he's like, you don't just run, you have the conversation, you explain your position, and you see if that person is willing to change that, or maybe they didn't realize they were doing that, or something like that. And then if they continue, then you walk away.
Okay.
So I think that if you like someone enough, or if they have all of these other good things, then it's worth a conversation. Personally, if it's something on this list that is just, maybe we just went out on 2 dates, I don't necessarily feel like I need to have the whole conversation. But if they're so great, except for this thing, then I think it's worth it. So
yeah, not too much time or hard work has been invested in it.
Exactly.
By day 2. Yeah, no.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is being stingy. And these are not in any particular order. They're just how we were thinking about them. Stingy to me is akin to unkindness, and it's kindness is a thing. I talked about it before. It's super important to me. Surprisingly, it's not actually on my list. Everything, but there's so many other things that mean kind, like that reflect kindness. I was just like, that's interesting. That's not on the list, because it's certainly now. But then when I'm like reading all these other things, I'm like, well, I mean, I guess if you're all of this, you are kind, but like the actual word. But when someone is stingy with either their money or their time or even their affection, that is a red flag, because someone who's stingy when you're dating, they're going to be more so when you're married, not less.
Yeah.
Because everything that happens when you're dating is actually exacerbated.
Yeah, amplified.
And now you're stuck with it. And I define someone who's stingy as someone who really just, I was thinking about money, but you can apply it to other things. Financially, they just care about themselves, and they are kind of cheap. They don't want to do extra things. They're like, oh, flowers, you want flowers? I don't want flowers. But if someone wanted flowers, they're just like, no, like, not because they don't have the means right now, but they have it, but they are just not generous. And so generosity is a big thing for me.
Yeah, but I agree, because some people may be listening to this and go, "Well, I'm just frugal. I'm real, good with my money, and I have a budget." But yeah, when you're dating somebody, maybe the Bible talks about where your heart is, there your treasure lies. So I'm trying to, I want you, if wooing you is maybe getting you flowers or taking you on a date and paying for the date, because remember when we had the girls on the call, our college students. They were like, well, I'll just pay mine. Our 50. We're like, no, when you're courting her, paying for the date is something that, should be a part of it. But if you're being stingy, or you pay for the date, but then say, can you cash out me back half? No, that's a red flag.
Right.
Go. Exactly. Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye. So I'm going to try to play this video real quick. This is Jonathan McReynolds. He's a gospel music recording artist, and he did this little Instagram post that he was sharing. He was talking to a friend of a friend who's a woman, and she was talking about her boyfriend and his ability to, buy her things. And the main point is a little bit different than what we're saying here, but there's some things that he says in the video that I think are related to this. So let me see if it's gonna work, because why would it when I need it to work? All right, let me go here. me go here. Here. Yep.
Unmute it. Unmute it. You got to unmute it.
To actually pay and spoil and do a lot of the things he feels like he is obligated to do, things that he even wants to do, he desires to do because of how much he cares and appreciates this girl. And her response to that has always been, oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to do that. I don't even want anybody like that. I don't even want a relationship like that. You know, you don't have to rise to the occasion. It's okay. Comfort, 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 comfort. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I told her that's all beautiful. And I know her heart is in a good place. But what men actually need is not for you to lower the bar. Just build us up. Just tell her that, yeah, you know, that is something that he is supposed to do and that he should want to do. And he will be able to. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, young man, and you will eventually get to that place. You'll find your stride. You'll find your moment. You'll find your break. And you'll be able to do all the things that you wanted to do for me and for yourself. That's the type of stuff we need. I'm just saying, a lot of times, the idea is let me lower, cheapen, devalue myself as a woman so that the man doesn't feel like he can't afford. I'm just trying to let you know, don't lower the bar for us. Just build us up. Promise you it's going to work out better. She did exactly what I said a few moments after and said, my man almost cried because he had never been encouraged in that way before. I was talking to a friend of a friend.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I love that. And the point where he was saying, you know, it's what you should do for me. It's what he wants to do for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important. And so I think that, and I would, and the thing that's interesting, that was really interesting about that is that I'm that type of woman who would be like what I call low maintenance. Like, you don't need to spend a lot of money. You don't, whatever. And he's just like, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Now, you can have a lot of money, but you need to do things that demonstrate your appreciation. And as I said when Winston was here, I'm not paying for the date, so let's not come with that. So, like, for someone, to me, it is stingy and it's not generous. And I believe in generosity. I mean, I believe in almost not reckless in a bad way, but reckless generosity. I just think that God gives us means in order to help other people. And when someone withholds that, what they have, even James says that if your brother or your friend comes and says, I have a need, and you say, go be filled and hungry or whatever, don't be hungry, but you are able to actually buy them food, then you're just terrible. I mean, obviously I'm not quoting it, but I'm just saying it's not a good thing. And so I just believe in generosity. And if someone is stingy, then you need to be mindful of that. That may be fine for you right now, but I guarantee you 2 years into that marriage, 3, 5, you're going to be regretting that.
For sure.
The Bible says I don't have the scripture here. Give and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shake it together and running over will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. So the second one is he's always between jobs or starting a new one. I'm gonna let you start off here.
Yeah. If he's always in between jobs, one is showing that he had issues with discipline, self-control. He may be easily angered, and the Bible talks about that too in Galatians. 5:22-23 about having self-control, because to not even be able to see something through, you can't trust that. Even creditors, or when you're going for jobs, certain jobs is requiring a degree, not even just because you need to have a degree in that field. They want to see that you can see something through to the end. So if you keep quitting, you're in between jobs all the time, then you're showing that you're a person that gives up easy. And my heart is valuable. Your heart is valuable. So I can't be with somebody who's going to quit on me on the drop of a dime and not see something through. And starting a new job, some people have this thing where it's NRE, that new relationship energy, where something's new, so they're all in. So they're gonna be love bombing you and love bombing you a lot in the beginning. Then it's gonna turn to breadcrumbing, and then you ain't gonna hear from them more because he's on to another new thing. So that is a red flag if he's always in between jobs and starting new ones.
I love that. I love that new job energy. So new relationship energy, and everything is new. And you know, I was listening to my favorite book, Atomic Habits, and James Clear. You listening to the audiobook, and he was talking to a gymnastics trainer one time of like elite, athletes, and he was asking him what's the hardest part for these elite athletes in their training. And he said it is navigating boredom. Because the thing is, he's like, after they are doing these things, they're perfecting them, but they have to do them over and over and over, the same thing over and over and over again every day. And it gets boring. And so that's really where the elite is separate from the non-elite. Is like a lot of times we're just like, oh, I'm tired of doing this. Let me do something else. We do it with our nutrition. We do it with our exercise. We do it with a lot of things. But it's the people who actually push through the boredom and know that there's a real goal in mind that can accomplish something that's at a high level.
Yeah.
And so when you have someone who's always between jobs, like you said, or constantly starting, oh, I just started a new job. And then you talk to them 3 months later, oh, I just started a new job. Is it the same new job you start? No, that, the boss or the time or this or that, whatever it is, just a lot of excuses. Recognize that your marriage, unless that person matures or changes, your marriage is going to look like that if you stay with them, because they will marry you because it's exciting. Will they still have that new relationship energy? And even if they are committed to you, we can pretend all we want to, but nobody wants a man who can't keep a job. And so it's going to be frustrating when you're thinking provider, protector, and he's thinking chilling on the couch and letting you work because you got a higher paying job or whatever like that. So the Bible says in Proverbs 13:4, the soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. So we don't want to be hanging out with no sluggards.
Something you touched. I'm sorry. Well, again, when I was talking about the change in jobs, a man who has a lot of kids by a bunch of different women.
Okay, come on now.
He got 4 kids by 4 different women. There's another person who's this changing. He bored. There's one guy I knew that it seemed like every time the baby got born and maybe 2 months in, he's out. She tripping. Well, being a wife and a mother, when we have that baby, we are in straight nurturing mode. And so you got to have a man there who's understanding that your attention is going to be on that baby, especially if you're nursing the baby. Like nobody can really even share in that duty. Right. He can share diaper changer, but nobody can share in that duty. And so this guy, each time after she had the baby, a couple of months, he's out of there because I need somebody new. And of course, the new girl thinking, she can work and it's working better than last one. And no, same thing happened. So if a guy got multiple kids, I'm not saying that if he has kids, he can't be a good guy, but if there are multiples by multiple different women, it's a red flag that there's no self-control there. He gets bored as well, just like with the whole job situation. And he doesn't see nothing through. Right. I don't know if you saw the interview with, I think it's Cam Newton. There's a little clip that he was meeting. Oh, I can't remember the name, but because he has a lot of kids. I mean, we're going to talk about Nick Cannon, but Cam Newton in particular, she was saying, because he was afraid of divorce. Now, mind you, his parents are still married and together, but he was talking about being afraid of divorce. And the lady told him, what you're doing is you're having all these babies, but you're creating a lot of broken homes. And you're not able to give no time. So if you're, there's a guy you're dating, you're interested in, he's already created 4 broken homes, 3 broken homes. Like pause, because I'm telling you, you can look the best, have the best job, and all these great intentions. But if he's willing to do that multiple times with other women, 9 times out of 10, he's going to do it with you too.
Yeah. Not to mention that if you were to marry this person, your money needs to be going to those children.
Yep, it's going to. The government will require it.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mhm.
I applaud that. That's something that I appreciate that the government does if they do it. And because you don't get to bring children into this world and not take care of them financially and emotionally. You should be. That means you have to share that partner, and inevitably with the other mothers, because these are young kids typically.
Well, what I was saying, if you're married, they actually now you go back to court. So your income as the wife coming in gets added to his.
Oh, okay.
And so they will now increase. They will now increase what he has to give out because they get the combined household income.
Can you say red flag? Red flag, red flag, red flag. So yeah, I think that we need to. This isn't about being judgmental. It's just about being realistic. And if someone can't even be committed to their own children, then they're not gonna stay much committed to you.
Mm-hmm.
How about he shuts down when you try to address conflict or differences? This is a red flag, because even in the best of marriages and relationships, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be differences of opinion. There are going to be things that come up. As you're learning one another, you're going to learn. I mean, I came from a whole different household than you. So my thought processes are different than you. My habits are different than yours. The way I think things should be done is different from you. And if we can't have those conversations without you like shutting down and just running away from the conflict, I'm not no fan of confrontation or conflict either. But in order for you to have a healthy relationship, you have to have those conversations. It doesn't have to be confrontational, but if you shut down, then it becomes confrontational, because you're trying to get him to respond and he's shutting down and not responding. So that's going to elevate you. And so now it becomes a whole cycle of dysfunction. And here's the even more significant part of that problem, is that nothing ever gets resolved.
Yes.
You spend a whole lifetime with all of these unresolved issues that if you just had a really good conversation and people just really came in the middle and said, okay, and could compromise or even sacrifice themselves, then your whole relationship would change. But you just have all of these unresolved issues that just build on each other and create resentment and bitterness and just misery.
Yeah. Yeah. And it chokes the life out of your relationship. Because like you said, those weeds that you've now planted, they're just going to start choking out. There'll be happy moments, or there'll be something that's very much minor, but you didn't deal with the issue. So now it blows up every time. And you continue to have that same argument in the dating and in marriage. It will continue to keep coming up, and you're wondering, why do we keep having the same fight? Because you never dealt with it. So don't shut down, and don't gaslight when the person is now expressing an issue. And now you're like, well, you did such and such. Well, you didn't break up your issue at the time. Let me get But and a lot of times people can say, when I was initially dating, first dating, I wouldn't say we didn't have any disagreements, or maybe we didn't, because you're just like, oh, we're so amicable. I would say if you are dating too, you need to have a disagreement so you can see how you fight. Like, how do we both fight? Because like you said, Lorraine, we come from different backgrounds. And some people are very much avoidant, where other people are very hot and ready to argue and get it done with. But, you have to also actually set up and have a discussion of how you want to fight in your relationships. Let's discuss, let's lay some grounds down for communication, but definitely don't shut the person down, because that says to them also that you don't care about their feelings, and therefore you don't care about them.
Absolutely. Proverbs 18 verse 19 says, a brother offended is harder to win than a strong city, and contentions are like the bars of a castle. So basically just it separates you, it puts up a wall between the two of you. And so we should strive, surrender our ego so that we are not so easily offended by
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
You just said something that not triggered, but like actually led into the next one that I had. So I'm gonna just share that, where it says he invalidates your feelings or perspective and gets defensive. Because you were just talking about that, gaslighting and all of that. So you wanna talk more about that?
Yeah, just saying stuff like, I was in a salon the other day, and a lady was one of the stylists was saying, it really irks me when she finally gets frustrated enough, so she may raise her voice to say something to her partner, and he's going, "You're crazy." So that's invalidating her and insulting her. And she's like, "What's crazy about it is because I've put up with something so long now, I'm voicing it." But invalidating and making it seem like you're either crazy, or making it seem like they're the victim and not you, because they're also like,
yes,
such and such. And it's like, again, you're not letting me be heard. And then the defensive component, because if you are with the person, you're dating them, you care about them, let's bring the defense down and really truly listen to the person. But if this is you're dating somebody and that's what they're always doing, nothing you say is valid. It's your fault. It's never theirs. They can't take accountability for their actions. Right. These are red flags. And if they have an excuse all the time, well, I know I snapped that day, but I was so tired coming from work. I know I snapped this day, but my paycheck was low. Okay, I know I snapped at you when you told me, get off the video game. Like they need to take accountability, do these things and validate your feelings of what you're saying. These are red flags.
Yes, these are very much red flags. And, if you're in a relationship and you're in a healthy relationship, that's the safest place you should be to share your feelings.
Yes.
And the thing is, if you share your feelings about something, it doesn't mean that you're attacking that person. It means that you're saying, this is how I felt about it. You could be completely wrong about your perception of it, but you're not wrong about your feelings. Right. And so if we can share our feelings, and then that person can say, "Oh man, I'm so sorry that I made you feel that way. Let me explain what I was thinking when I said this or when I did that." Now you can see the whole picture and be like, "Oh, okay, I understand." Or maybe they were just dead wrong and they can apologize for being dead wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that the very first part of it is just validating that someone has the feeling that they're expressing, and then getting to the root of maybe why that happens.
Yeah.
And so James chapter 3, verse 15 and 16 says, "This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, and demonic. For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there."
Mercy.
So when we are invalidating someone, we're really self-seeking. We're protecting ourselves. We're not protecting the relationship. We're fighting for ourselves and our ego. We're not fighting for the relationship.
Wow.
So what do you have? Do you have something else?
Well, I was going to add into that. They don't have nice things to say about others. They're overly critical of people. There's never really a good thing they can say about anybody. And so, to you, they're complimentary of you. But yeah, my last girl, she was da-da-da-da-da-da. Or, a current friend of yours is not this for you, or a coworker. Or you sit with them at church and the pastor, I didn't get enough of the sermon. He kind of whack. Like, they're always overly critical.
Yes.
There's not really much, there's nothing positive they really have to say. Shows there's a deeper something going on. Either they have low self-esteem, they are in situations where they have imposter syndrome. There's something else going on. But if they're overly critical all the time, it's going to turn to you. It's going to turn.
Absolutely. And it probably is. It's already happening, but it's just behind your back right now.
Yes. Yes. You don't even know it yet. Just he ain't got that comfortable with you yet. Right. Or she has not, because we're not even saying these are all the dudes or the guys. We're saying either person. But
Yes.
yeah, just overly critical, never much nice things to say, kind of self-righteous, and all these things. There's
Mhm.
nobody's good enough, nobody's better than them, that type of stuff.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And you know, it's a red flag because it's just annoying.
Hmm.
Like, you know, especially in when you are trying to, because life is life be life in.
Yeah.
And so we all have our situations that are, you know, almost seemingly constantly arising. And if you are in the mindset of like seeking to honor God and praise God, even in the difficult times,
Hmm.
but you have a partner who is always seeing the negative, who's never praising, always criticizing, that means they're going to be criticizing God too. And
Hmm.
why he let this happen. And what, so now you are struggling to try to praise and uplift God while the other person is pulling all of that down. And
Hmm.
so there are times when, you know, we are weak and we need someone,
Yes.
particularly our partner, to lift us up. But if they're always negative, then you can't ever depend on that. You know, in our in Praying Sisters, the community that we created, we talked about that in Do Only Weak Women Need Friends, and I'll post that link up in the video as well. Um, we talked about how there are times when we are going through stuff and we will ask the community to pray for us because sometimes you just struggling.
Yes.
But if you have a partner that's supposed to be walking with you with God and in Christianity and faithfulness, then you want to be able to turn to that person as well to pray for you. But if they're all they got is criticism and negative talk, then it's going to be a struggle. So
Yeah.
that's a red flag.
Yes.
Number 5 I have is he makes jokes about you and demeans you. Yeah. I I'm not really, I do not like jokes like that. I love to laugh and I appreciate a good situational joke, situation
Yes.
humor.
Yes.
But to just like joke about a person is not my thing. It's never been my thing. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like that
Yeah.
because I was also very sensitive to I still am very sensitive to other people's feelings. And I mean, it don't feel good if you joke about me. So why would it feel good about, you know, us joking about somebody else, you know?
Right.
Um, and so if you have a partner who's supposed to be covering and protecting you, and he's joking about you, even if it's not in public, though typically if it's in private, it's in public too.
Hmm.
If he's joking about you, demeaning your opinion and your thoughts and your intelligence and your weight and all of these different things, then this is a huge red flag, particularly you're not married to this person. So you need to make a run for this. This is
Yes.
not for me. Maybe I might have a conversation, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt me to have a conversation, but to me, some of this stuff is just ingrained in who this person is. And it would take, I mean, a significant desire from them to change it. Now, if
Hmm.
they desire to change it or whatever, maybe we could work through this. But this for me is a big deal. And so you know, you can make your own decision about how you handle that. But for me, I'm pretty 99% sure that I'm like, if this is happening, I'm just like, I'll tell you that I'm leaving, but and I probably will tell you why, but I don't know that I'm gonna be like, you know, it really hurts my feelings when you demean me and joke about me. Can you please stop that? I'm like, yo, you need to chill. Peace out. But like, so I don't know. I don't know. Tell me what you think.
No, for sure. Because again, if you like me, why you put me down?
There's something inside of you.
I'm inside of you. If you like me, why would you be putting me down?
Mhm.
Um, Maybe it's something I did. You may not like something I did. You can maybe say, "Hey, I really don't like the way you did that," but you demean me as a person. You don't like me, so walk.
Mhm.
Take a
Right.
nice walk with some open toe shoes on and kick rocks. Like just go ahead because you don't like me. And unfortunately, I have a friend who's married who says she don't think her husband likes her. It's like they're married, they're in church, been together for a long time. She said, she literally asked her husband, I don't think you like me. Are we friends? No, he
heard
didn't
someone say that before.
Yeah, he didn't say he didn't like her, but he said, no, we're not friends. And it was just like, how can you not be friends with your spouse? And
right.
So it's like, what are you talking about? You don't like me. And who knows? Maybe, again, going back to that part where we talked about earlier about, people, the athletes and getting bored. There will come times in your marriage sometimes when things feel monotonous, the fire doesn't feel as there. And, you made a marital vow, so you're going to stick through it. So maybe you've grown apart. Some things need to be readjusted, rekindle it, start some new hobbies and new things together, dating, all different type of dating you can do. But we're saying don't go into a marriage if you don't, this person, like, don't wait to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't wait to that point. Like, he's showing you signs, she's showing you signs, never able to compliment you, but always have something to nag on you about, criticize, or just say demean you. Then no, walk, thank you. Bye, skirt, put the brakes on it.
So anyways, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 4 says, obscene stories, foolish talk, and coarse jokes, these are not for you. Instead, let there be thankfulness to God. The Bible has something to say about a lot of stuff. We didn't just pull these out of our hat. And so we're gonna start to wrap up here. So we probably will do a part 2 because there's some other good stuff on here that we want to talk about. And I know she has some other good stuff. So what's the next one that you have?
I had they wants or needs all of your time, all the time.
Love it.
All your time, all the time. So can't even allow you to have any boundaries. They want to need all your time, all the time. Like where are you? Where you going? Who you with? And then, okay, you get up at 5. I'm seeing 5:05. I get you're dating and you like the person, you want to spend time with them, but also allow there to be some time of separation so they can want to see you again. But what all consuming of not only just wanting, okay, where you are, who you're with, and this is the dating stage, so it's not even like, we're close friends. Like, hey, girl, text me when you get home. Let me know you got home safely. But all the details, they need to know all the details. They're frustrated when you say, hey, I can't make it. But why can't you? They're not respecting that you have commitments outside of them. You have friendships outside of them too. Let me add that. And so you have other relationships that you're going to be nurturing as well while you're still dating them. You may have other hobbies outside of your job that you need to do.
And you should.
Right. And you should not have to stop doing those things. Those healthy hobbies I'm talking about. Now, if you at the strip club with your boys, okay.
That should not be your hobby anyway. But
it should not. But you should not have to stop being you to basically be with this person, dating this person. But not letting you have your boundary of time. Period. Like, it's got to be all consuming. And every weekend you get together, and every time you get off work, you got to be together. Like, breathe. Breathe. Give them space. Yeah.
No, totally agree with that. And that's actually one of the I'm going to drop this in the comments. You pick up that ebook, buy it for a friend or a person that you know. It's only $7. It's the 5 men you should never date. And one of them is that guy who is protective, but we break down what that actually looks like. And what you're just saying is that, at first it's like cute that he, wants to know where you are and whatever. But then it's just kind of like, no, I need to know the place. And now he's driving by. He's showing up when you're hanging out with your friends. He's checking your phone. He's all of these things. And then that just takes it to a whole nother level. So understanding how to evaluate between an actual guy who's just protective and cares about you versus a guy who's, really unhealthy and probably even abusive is
Mhm.
probably gonna turn in that direction, is really important. And you can find that out in that book right
In
there.
that book. And I would say that also it can show itself up. I know people, I've known people, you probably seen movies, especially Lifetime shows where it becomes too, they start isolating you or pulling you away from your family,
Yes.
you
Yep.
know, close friends, because oh, she's jealous of you. And it
Mhm.
sounds like valid stuff. See, she ain't never got no man. She jealous of you, babe. You only need me. And they
Mhm.
start to pull you away from everybody you were around, who you know. Now your family's not good enough. I know you said your mom hurt you was 8 years old. You know, you don't need her. Stop talking to her. Like the pulling you away from all these people that can also see the red flags.
Mhm.
So catch it on the early side, ladies. Catch it on the early.
Catch it on the early side. So the one that I'm going to end with is actually the opposite of what you just said,
Mhm.
which is he spends more time with his friends and
Mm.
shares with them more than you. So we're not talking about someone you just dated for, once or twice. Like if you're in a relationship with someone and you feel like you're heading to something permanent, but they want to spend all their time with their friends and maybe just show up at your house at 10 o'clock at night or whatever, some craziness like that.
Mhm.
Or they don't call you ever, they're not texting you, they're not keeping in contact with you, but they're like always with their friends. This is a red flag. This is not going to get better when you get married, because with marriage comes so many more responsibilities and all of these things. They're going to feel like if their friends are their escape now, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have friends. In fact, I think
Mhm.
he should have friends. He should have good friends, healthy friends who will be like, okay, dude, I actually want to hang out with my wife too. I'm not trying to hang out with you. So you need to go to your girlfriend and you need to go to your
Mhm.
wife. That's a healthy male relationship where like we do spend time, but then we don't spend all the time. Just like with women,
Mhm.
you spend time, but you don't want to spend all the time. You need to attend to your husband.
Yeah.
And so someone who is always just like want to hang out with the boys and do all these silly boy things, but never wants to really spend time and actually sit down and talk and share with you. It's all maybe just like the physical stuff they want to do. And obviously, we don't advocate sex before marriage, but people do other stuff and people do that too. So,
Mhm.
if that's all they want to do, or they're just there for you when you cook a meal and they can get served, but they don't want to
Mhm.
share with you and be a part of a mutual relationship, then that is a red flag.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And listen, they make the time to be where they want to be. They're making the time for their friends. They want to hang out with their friends. They make the time to go be on video games, to go eat, to go to work, to
Mhm.
do all the things they want to do. And if you ask a man, especially a married man, hey, what their opinion is of a guy he's always ready to go hang with his friends, they're gonna tell you, oh, he don't want you. He
Mhm.
don't want you. He don't want you for marriage. He don't want you to be
Right.
his main woman. He'll
Right.
play with you. He'll breadcrumb you. He'll take all your goodies if you're giving him your goodies, but he has no intentions of wifing you up. Bottom
Mhm.
line, and
Bottom line.
bottom line, and a man that wants you, he's going to show that he wants you. You're going to be a priority for
Yes.
him. You're going to be a priority. When a
Yeah.
guys are pretty determined, even right now, I can look at my 5-year-old. He's pretty determined for something. He's going to go after it. He's going to want
Mhm.
it. And
Mhm.
so, if you're having to be like, babe, spend time with me, babe, why can't you ever come home? Hey, why can't you? Why you gotta go play basketball at the gym 4 nights a week, and then you too
Mhm.
tired? And then what we're saying, he's not even coming to your house, but now he's too tired to even call you. Now you both worked all day. He got off. You may have had a 5-minute conversation, and he said, "I'm gonna call you out there play ball." Now he didn't just play ball. Now he played for 3 hours, and the kid, hey, you got sleep. You have to sleep because he called you. You trying to stay up and talk, but now he too tired to even give you that. He's showing you this is what life will also look like as a marriage, because he's
This
not
is
gonna.
what life will look like, and he will just expect you to be there. And
Yeah,
if he don't got time for you, that's because you're not a priority for him. And
yeah,
that is a huge red flag. The Bible says, Ephesians 5:28, so husbands ought also to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his own wife loves himself.
Amen.
Well, that was probably about 8. And so we have more that we're going to share with you all. We are really wanting women, particularly, to be wise about the dating decisions that you are making. We
Yes.
enjoy this podcast, but we don't do it just to have fun. We really do it because we've experienced so many women in our lives who have made those decisions without having any sort of blueprint or any sort of guidance, or maybe they ignored the guidance. Either way, we want to save women who aren't yet married from some of these poor decisions because they either don't see that this is a red flag, they ignore it, they don't realize where it can end up in marriage. But we really want you to live, love, and marry wiser. We like, that is our goal. And so we hope that you benefited even from just these. And I'll actually try to put these in the description so that you can pull them off if you want to, like, just write these things down if you didn't have a chance to. But I think we're going to come back next week and give you, at least 5 or 6 more things that you should be looking for, that you should be paying attention to as far as red flags when you are dating. Protect yourself early so you're not constantly on this trail of broken hearts. And it's always your heart. You know what I'm saying? Don't. Oh, this is a great comment. If you question if a man loves you, there's an issue. Men love you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, yeah, you should never have to question that. Well, we appreciate you being here with us. Remember, you can get that link in the comments. We'll get you that free. That it's not free, but it's $7, so it's pretty much free ebook. And I think it's really good. God has shared a lot of things with me, and I wanted to share them with you in a place that you can share. You have friends and family that are making poor choices in their dating life, then pick up a copy for them, and it's PDF. They can get it, immediately. We appreciate you. Thank you so much, Onita, for being here again.
Yes.
And we really appreciate you all who are watching at this time. And we hope that you will join us. We hope that you will share. We hope that you will tell people we're on Spotify, and Amazon Music, and Castbox, and several others. And that you will share that with them. Subscribe, comment, like. Please like and share and comment, and all of the things, so that we can grow this channel and get the word out to everybody. And so, with that being said, until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and marry wiser. God bless you.
Good night, y'all.